Hi folks, how are you? And this is a first, this video for RCing Around, where, Matthew's not here, I'm trying to appeal to everybody to help a man who needs help financially. Now, I intended to, I was thinking about setting up some sort of help fund thing, whatever you want to call it, for this channel, because we're trying to build it up. I mean, myself and Matthew, and try and make as good videos as we can. It's very difficult when you're on a very modest wage to try and keep up with a lot of people who get sent free products and all the rest of it, and can get really good cameras and things. So I was thinking about, maybe I could set up a fund thing, a trust thing, whatever you want to call it, a bit like what's that thing called, Kickstarter, a bit like that, where people could donate so we could maybe get some new camera equipment or better microphones or better lighting or something, just to improve the content. But what I want to talk about today is way more important than that, way more important, and you'll need to forgive me for this. This is not a happy, fun, enjoyable RCing Around video. This is a sad but very important video, and I do hope you'll bear with me and see it to the end. I'm here appealing to everybody on behalf of a man. Now, please forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Is it Carmen Aloca, I think? I'll put a photo of him up here, this man here. Carmen, I think it's Carmen Aloca, but if you're watching, sorry if I've got that wrong, but he has a channel called Old Fart RC. Now, Carmen is from Tucson, Arizona. I've got my notes here because there's a lot of stuff here, so I'll just give them notes. Basically, he has been struggling financially, really badly. I know we all struggle financially. I've been struggling financially, but this is beyond anything that I've come across. He's disabled at the moment, and he's trying to use the hobby, the RC hobby, as a bit of escapism, a bit of maintaining normality while he's struggling. And he wanted a lunchbox because apparently, I think he said it brought back memories for him. Maybe he remembers it as a child or whatever, because I think it was from the early 80s, wasn't it, the lunchbox? So he wanted to build himself one, but he couldn't afford the asking price, which is, I believe, something like $100 US or something over there. I got to just stress, I'd never met Carmen, I don't know him. He's just someone from America across the pond there who needs help, and we've chatted a few times on videos that we've done, because he subscribes to us, and I can't sit back and just do nothing when he's struggling. So basically, he can't afford a lunchbox, so what he's doing is he's building one piece by piece over several months, just buying little parts, which will cost more in the long run, of course, but what else can you do? He's just trying to do what he can. Now, that sounds like, he's just struggling financially, it's not unusual, but please bear with me. Carmen is a US Air Force veteran who's now no longer with the Air Force. The reason he is struggling so much for money is in 1991, during, the cleanup after Operation Desert Storm in Kabul, he was injured by an IED, an improvised explosive device, which damaged his legs. Now, he obviously got honourably discharged from the US Air Force, but in 2006 his legs gave out entirely, and it's forced him to be on disability. Now, I'm obviously Scottish, British. I don't know how things work over in America regarding these sort of things, but I'm led to believe that it's not really enough to survive on. It's not really supportive enough, is what I'm led to believe. But unfortunately, it doesn't end there, because a few years ago, his mother took ill. I think her age of 69, I believe. And Carmen, if you're watching, please forgive me if I'm getting any of this wrong. And Carmen and his wife spent everything trying to save her life. I don't know what it was, but she got very ill, and they spent all of their savings They basically bankrupted themselves trying to save her. But unfortunately, she died. They were left with very little. What makes it worse is her husband, Carmen's father, who was Colonel Thomas R. Aloka, another US Air Force veteran, highly decorated apparently. He received the Congressional Medal of Honor, I believe, in 1974. And he was also an SR-71 pilot. That's awesome. An SR-71 is about the coolest thing in the world, so that's brilliant. Anyway, he suffered from dementia during his wife's struggles, health struggles. You know, it's very often the way if you've been, especially with older people, if they've been together for so long, one struggling, it has a massive impact on another one. So unfortunately, he was getting sick with dementia himself, and then they wanted to provide the very best nursing home for him, but the nursing home needed £8,000, or sorry, $8,000 up front, which they didn't have. So he had this. So Carmen sold his Mustang GT, which is obviously his pride and joy, to try and, you know, give him the best care. But 33 days after his wife died, he also died of a broken heart. It's tragic. And also, you know, this is, for me as someone from the UK, it's unbelievable to consider the fact that America has this privatized health care system where you need to pay. If you can't pay, you don't get treatment. It's bizarre. It's wrong. It's so wrong. And you know, lots of countries can learn off of it. No country is perfect, and one country can learn off another country. But come on, if you can't get treatment just because you can't afford it, wow. I mean, that's just wrong, and it's so bad. Anyway, so his parents both died, despite him and his wife spending everything they had to try and save them. So as a result, they've lost the house. They're living in what he describes as a dump, you know, scraping by. He's on disability. I don't know what his wife does, but there you are. And I wish that was as bad as it gets, but unfortunately, tragically, no. In November last year, 2016, Carmen's daughter was hit by a speeding semi-truck and killed. A semi-truck is what we in the UK would call an articulated lorry. She was only 28 years old. Now, no parent should ever have to witness their child, especially that young, dying before them. It should always be the parents first. I know it sounds tragic, it sounds wrong to say that, but parents should always die first, always. My cousin Daniel died in July last year, only 29 years old, and I can tell you, we as the cousins felt the tragedy, terrible tragedy, but for his parents and his brothers, it was 1,000-fold worse. I can't even imagine what this man's gone through. His wife and Carmen and his wife couldn't even afford to go to the funeral for his own daughter because it was across the other way of the country, and they were so struggling for money. They couldn't afford to go to their own daughter's funeral. Then obviously that was the month before Christmas, November. So when December came, Christmas time, they couldn't afford presents for the remaining kids. So they couldn't even afford to get their granddaughter something for Christmas. And now this is why I'm here. This is what basically the whole purpose of me making this video is paint a picture for everybody, and then say Carmen and his wife have set up a PayPal account purely for donations to try and help them a little bit, you know, because they're not asking for to be rich or anything. They're not chasing money. They're just trying to survive, and they've had a lot taken off them. So I'm going to put a link up to this PayPal account that you can donate money to them. I'm going to be doing it myself once this video's getting processed or worked on, or whatever you want to call it. I'll put a link up in the video description, and you can hopefully please just donate whatever you can. I know not everybody can, because you know I know what it's like to struggle financially myself, and you can't just throw money away. But this is certainly not throwing money away. This is something I don't know anybody who needs money more than this man and his wife. Really, I mean, it's unbelievable. So please do donate if you can, just a little bit, and if everybody chips in just a little bit, hopefully he can make himself this lunchbox he's been building, or he can take his wife out for a nice meal, or they can do something a bit more normal for once. He's been looking at these FTX crawlers that Matthew got, the FTX Outback. He'd love one. They're not expensive, but he can't afford one. So yeah, that'd be great if you could just get something just to bring a little bit of joy, a little bit of happiness in his life just now. You know, I can only imagine what it'd be like dealing with tragedy and also with physical disabilities as well. I mean, we all get down sometimes, but no, very few people have been through something like that. He also said, or I suggested, I hope he can, if he does get his lunchbox built or whatever, maybe for a next episode of, what did I describe it as? I described it as people behind the hobby. We did an episode on Pedro. It'd be great if we could do a little episode on Carmen as well, if he could send something through once he's finished to show his appreciation, and so we can show everybody, you know, what we've done, how we've managed to contribute. That'd be great. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say with that. Please guys, just check it out, have a look, if you can donate some money and try and make, you know, make a man who's down on his luck, make him smile a little bit. Really, that's all. I mean, it sounds like I'm understating it a little bit, or a lot, but I don't mean to understate it at all. The last thing I want to say is there's a man you certainly, or a person you certainly don't want to commit any money to. There's a channel under the name of William Stadther, but if you Google it, like, you know, on the URL to it is Sheila185. This person's been stealing all of our RCing Around videos and re-uploading them as himself, trying to monetize. You know, a lot of people do that on YouTube. They try and gain money from work they haven't done themselves. They haven't made. They've just downloaded it, re-uploaded it on their own channel, and went, you know, and enabled monetization so they can get free money for stuff they didn't do. This guy does not have our permission to do this. So if you see this channel, don't follow it, don't like it, don't share it, and in fact, if you were willing to do it, I'd really appreciate it if you would report it as well, because I've reported it myself. But the more people that do it, the more clout it has, because, you know, I'm just a small channel. Me and Matthew, we're just a small channel, so we don't have much clout, and I don't know if Google will take it seriously. So please, yeah, I really appreciate that. But if you're going to do one thing out of two, definitely help Carmen. Please, yeah, that'd be amazing if you could just do that. So guys, I'm sorry it was such a morbid, sad video, but it was important, more important than any video I've ever done. And take care. We'll speak to you soon. Cheers.